Hello, my name is William Hartshorn. I live on the Venice walk streets. I've been here for 35 years. I have a main issue that I've been dealing with for a long time now, probably about 2 or 3 years, with the planes that are flying over our houses. How many people have fruit trees in their yards? Anybody? This is what my fruit looks like now. Every day, starting at about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, I have planes that fly over my house, probably about 5 or 10 minutes apart. And it's basically the flight schools that are basically flying over Venice. They're making their turns and making their stops. They're going back to the airport, stopping, touch and go, going back around again. And what's happening is we're getting all of this noise every day, and we're getting all this pollution. When I walk on my deck, in my backyard, and I walk into my house, this is what's going into my house. Okay? Now, I don't know if anybody else has the same problem, but this is an issue. This is Santa Monica Airport. Okay, and it's definitely the flight schools. They've got the regular planes going straight out and over Santa Monica now. But now we're dealing with just the flight schools. This is a main issue that's dealing with all the people on the walk streets. I'm speaking for them, and we definitely need some help here.
My name is called Santa Monica Airport, but they fly over Venice. That's their route. They take off over Venice from Santa Monica. My name is Jack Susser. I want to thank you for being here. I was brought to Venice and born here 61 years ago. I chose to live here. My parents are kind of the American dream story. My father came from Montreal, where he met my mother, who'd come from Poland. They moved here without anything, but had enough to buy a small home where I was raised. I walked every day to the elementary school from north of Rose Avenue on Rennie Avenue to the Sunset Avenue Elementary School, which is now the Venice Skill Center, which was a beautiful brick Spanish-style building that was on 4th and 5th and Sunset. I've seen a lot of things happen in this community in the 61 years I've lived here. I've chosen to live here. My parents became successful. I was a high school teacher. I taught for LA Unified for 10 years. I opened up a real estate company and had a real estate company for 30 years that I retired from. I've raised my family here, and I've appreciated the joy and the happiness that Venice can bring. It's always been a diverse city. It started off as a wealthy city. It started off as the land of the playground for the rich, with many piers off the beach, with many places of entertainment, boat rides and gambling. I don't need to tell you about it, just look at Ralph's story. But for those of you who remember. It was a neighborhood when growing up, living west of Lincoln Boulevard, I was told, aren't you afraid to live there? It was the area in the 50s when I was a young child where my older brother would take me to the beach and we would see the beatniks and their shops and the music and the poetry readings. And there was a lot of diversity and always has been, and that's what's made it a fabulous city and why rather than move, we chose to rebuild a new home here. I too live on the walk streets of Venice and feel it to be a romantic and beautiful place. But what has happened is not that people rich and poor have moved in. That's always been the case. Not that people who wanted change and those that didn't. That's always been the case. My best friend was a news commentator. His father was Bob Ferris with CBS Radio for years. He was a Golden Mike winner, and his son played with me, even though I didn't have anywhere near the amount of wealth that he grew up with. What I'm trying to say is, what is happening is polarization. We've all wanted to work together, and I think Venice has always been a community that has appreciated the diversity. We are all compassionate, we're all emotional. The emotions expressed here, the diversity of opinions, my God, the myriad of things you have to choose from tonight's meetings, I don't need to reiterate. But what I do want, and what I do hope from the news media, is the difference that so many older news reporters mentioned today, and that is the the capitalization of how news is funded, the ability of news going from a method of communicating what's happening to a money-making profit division of the studios, of the broadcasting companies. And as a result, when newscasters would speak their opinion, there would be a stop, a sign would appear behind them, opinion would flash, and that would be made clear that that was the opinion of the newscaster. My request of you is to stop helping create polarity in our society. And I'm not asking you to be defensive, because I know you're all not guilty of this. But it's time, and as a former English teacher, I think it's time that we also understand that when you're expressing mobs of angry people demonstrating is a lot different than vicious, marauding, terrorizing students were seen in the community. Your choice of adjectives and adverbs should be left out. Your language should be that of the facts, and opinions should be excluded. Opinions are necessary, and there's a place for them, and definitely should be posted as such. So you see the diversity here. You see the polarization here. All I'm asking from you is, as the news source, I would hope that your use of language would not be to divide this country any further, and not choose to call liberals or nasty words, or conservatives nasty words, or to make impressions that one side or the other is, but to report the fact as it is given, and let us decide as a society. And please, for the benefit of our future, we must end this polarizing and find ways to unite. Thank you.
Before you leave, I heard everything you said, but I have a question. Are you suggesting that Eyewitness News Channel 7 does those things that you just said we should do?
I'm suggesting that divisions of ABC, NBC, CBS, all, not in all of your programs, but through your programming and through your stations, definitely present news in a biased fashion. And I'm a pretty liberal guy, and I can appreciate a lot of the liberal news reporting I hear. But on the other hand, I don't find it helpful.
Okay. I would, I only speak for Eyewitness News. I don't speak for ABC7. I don't speak for ABC. I don't speak for NBC, CBS. And I'm not going to be defensive. I'm just going to ask you a favor.
Yes, sir.
If you would, when you think that's happening, would you let us know? Because I think we're pretty proud of the way we report our news. Now, I would tell you that everybody in these chairs here today, and everybody on our staff back at the station, and all our reporters and all our anchors, all have opinions. If they didn't have opinions, they wouldn't be very good.